I don't mind watching that again, innings again, right? That was a master innings. Thank you very much, Roshan, for such an inspiring take on your life and challenges. And I'm sure I have a lot of questions when we advertise. A lot of people send questions to me to ask you as well, and I'm sure in the audience they want to know, or they will have their own questions. So I want it to be very interactive. It's not going to be a conversation here, but let's make it very. Let's have a kind of a dialogue as much as possible. And I'm sure Roshan, being so humble, he also would like to learn from you all. If you learn from his life, he has always been a continuous learner, so I sort of value that. It's also fitting that MB Alumni opened 2020 with you, with one of our best openers all time. So I think it's an auspicious start, and let's hope we'll have a good year. Roshan, I just want to start with your role model. I mean, luckily you had your father as a role model, your mentor and all that. I mean, we don't see people having wanting to have a role model. I mean, that was your starting point, I think. Luckily you had a father. Assuming if you don't have, should you use someone else as a role model? And is only role models only applicable when you are young, or have you sort of maintained it right throughout your life?
Yes, sir. Though I retired, I'm still not out.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for the kind sentiments expressed. For me, earlier on in my career, I never thought or knew the importance of a role model or a mentor. But later on in life, when I was going through some of the challenges, and today I was listening to a tribute which they had done for Kobe Bryant. He was saying when he was going through a difficult period where he could not get any goals and he struggled. If you all know who Kobe Bryant is, the basketballer who died recently in a helicopter crash, he says that his father said, don't worry, to that effect, might not be the same words, we still love you, or something to that effect. So I think in life, it's important to have a mentor or role model. You need to have somebody to go and discuss openly. In cricket, I feel not only in cricket, for that matter, one of the toughest jobs is cricket umpiring. And they brought in a role of a umpire coach, a mentor, to help these umpires overcome some of these challenges. Why I'm using an umpire as an example is when you and I make a mistake, only a very few people will recognize the mistake. But for an umpire, the entire world, millions of people see the mistake. And they have to put that at the back of our mind. I'm sure we'll talk about the subconscious mind later. But they need to stay focused of the job that has been entrusted upon them. And also, all of them do have problems. Sometimes, my last 2 years, with the ICC, I was out of home for 207, 208 days to be precise. So there can be challenges, there can be problems, but it's very important that you have somebody to go and discuss your problems, if you want to plan, and I always encourage, can be in sports, can be in the corporate world, and I saw that as a kid when I saw people coming and talking to my father, and these are top CEOs of the time, and I just thought people need some kind of guidance, some help. And I was also lucky, I had an uncle of mine who played rugby. He captained Sri Lanka rugby. He today reads a lot about how the mind works and how we need to handle certain issues and incidents. So I go to him as well when he have problems or when you need some advice, I always encourage the youngsters, the modern generation to have a mentor. That's where the problem is. Quite a number of them, sadly for our family. My nephew committed suicide 2.5 years ago. It was a very, very difficult period for us. And for him, his mentor was my father. And we lost him within 9 days of my father's death, and we never realized the importance of having someone, and that's why I always encourage youngsters and people that you should never give up. We all have a talent. We will have problems. We will go through difficulties. I can't think of anyone who has not gone through a challenging period to be successful. And it's not only about success. Why everyone is talking about success? It's about what you need to do to be best at what you're doing. Sometimes it's not mind of work. Analyze, work, and come back strong. But when you analyze, you need people to support and guide. And I always look at friends also. I have about 2 or 3 friends whom I go to if I want some advice. And I look in the qualities of where they criticize me. If a friend criticizes you, that's the true friend from my point of view, because they're doing that for your own benefit. Most of the others will come to you if only things are going your way. So you need to select your friends as well. Today, I discuss certain things with 1 or 2 selected friends and a few people. So I think it's very important. And for me, I had a coach who was a strict disciplinarian. I still go and see him once a month, once in 2 months to show my gratitude. I go and worship and come. I even encourage my grandson to come with me just to pass that on to the next generation. We are living in a world where we are losing values, and it's all about showing the future generations what needs to be done. So I think having a role model, a mentor is very important.
Good. That's fine, but in cricket, whom did you follow? I mean, you would have had a star as a young cricketer, and what did you learn from such a player or players?
My childhood hero was Greg Chappell. I had not seen him play. It's just that in the good old days we didn't have TV, so you used to listen to BBC World Service. Suddenly it goes off when you're listening to commentary. But I used to picture myself of some of the shots that he played, and I just thought, as a kid, we were having similarities. He had a good on drive. I like to play in the on drive, and so on. And then the other factor was the first test captain was from my school, so that was also an encouraging factor. Not that I went up to him, but just to look up to someone and think, oh, I need to get there. I need to work towards achieving what I want to achieve. So these were people that I was looking up to at the time, but my biggest critic was my father and my first coach. So I always went to them if I wanted advice, and sometimes not that I had to go to them, they would have come to me. But all that was constructive criticism in good faith, and you should be able to be strong enough to take, weigh, and use it to your advantage.
Thank you. You quoted Imran Khan's comment about successful people. I know you had setbacks, and you said falling is okay, but I want to know, did you make any mistakes? I mean, real blunders where, Imran Khan quote was about correcting those mistakes. It's not about failure as a challenge and all that, but were you sort of mistakes prone, or you have always been smart cookie?
I have not been a smart cookie. I was kicked out of class for not doing my homework. But I worked really hard to learn what I had to do. And there were a number of instances where, that's why I said, even as a referee or a player, now one instance that comes to my mind is when I was in New Zealand. It was freezing, right? And I was known to be a okay fielder. And I dropped 3 catches, and there were, these were catches which was quite easy, and unfortunately that guy ended up getting a double 100. Right? So sometimes you need to kick yourself. I know you don't do it purposely, I was the guinea pig because none of them wanted to field in the slips because it was freezing and we had hand warmers and so on just to keep our hands warm. But then we need to be strong enough when you go into another inning, another match to correct that. Being cold is not an excuse. So this is something that we learned later on, and that was early days of my cricketing career. And later on, I think we corrected those mistakes. I would have dropped catches, but not 3 catches in a match where somebody goes and gets a big score which has an impact later on the outcome of the game. Even as a referee, might not be me, sometimes you need to stand up for your teammates. My last game as a referee was the first ever daylight test match, and there was a mistake done by the TV umpire, right? So I had to weather the storm on behalf of the team, and I had to leave him, especially when I say leave him, the think tank of the New Zealand team who was upset. I said, let us handle. I said, we've made a mistake, and I had to take it upon myself to help the team. But then moving forward, I'm sure everyone discussed and came up with a plan to overcome. I think with the ICC, of course, there are people, I'm sure in our organization also, if someone makes a mistake, there will be someone to show and point out, but it's all about taking up that advice or criticism in that spirit. No point giving excuses because only you're fooling yourself.
Thank you. Just talking on playing in the innings, I know you have a mental preparedness. I mean, you talked about, I'm not talking about when you didn't know whether you were going to play or not, but when you know you were in the team and playing, and particularly when you're opening, how do you manage that first over?
For me, that was a very difficult task because I had never opened until I was selected to play for Sri Lanka for the first time. So for the first time ever I opened was in a test match. I think that was the only vacant place for me to get in. I took up that challenge. I was very nervous facing the likes of Imran Khan, Wasim Akram and a few other fast bowlers. I still remember getting hit on the head. We didn't have a concussion sub rule at the time. We need to shake off and then go and face the next delivery. So, but it was a challenging period. I was not all that successful in the first test match and the next couple of games, but I thought I had to adjust myself. Like you said, it takes a little bit of time for a batsman to get his eye in, but if you think of the 2020 cricket, they get their eye in from the first ball, but I'm talking about the previous generation and the era that we played in. But you need a little bit of time for you to settle in. So facing that first delivery, the first over, the first few overs is always challenging. I still remember, it goes back to what Greg Chappell had done when he was going through a very difficult period. There were 6 zeros he got on the trot, and what he had done was he had gone back to the drawing board to see where he has gone wrong, and they found out that he had not been watching the ball. This is a basic in terms of cricket. So what I do is, if you're facing a bowler at the start, mainly you will talk to yourself to say, watch the ball, watch the ball. So you need to have those trigger points and be prepared. That's why I say you need to follow people, you need to learn, sometimes put that into practice, see whether it works for you. What works for someone else might not work for you, but you need to figure out what suits you. So this is how we took up a challenge, or at least I took up a challenge and cemented my place later on.
Thank you. Just staying with I know you mentioned interesting quotations from various leaders. Who are your most admired leaders on the field and off the field?
Without doubt, I have a lot of respect for Imran. I met Imran a few years after he had retired, also at the hospital that he built in memory of his mother. That's because Now when I look back, he did the same thing, what he's doing now as a ruler or leading Pakistan. He walks the talk. So I have a lot of respect. If you're talking about leaders of our country and my captains, I played under about three. Certainly Arjuna stands ahead of the others. I'm talking about his cricketing leadership skills here. I don't want to go down the other part, but he was a strong leader. There were a number of times where I didn't see eye to eye with Arjuna. You don't have to, even in your organization, agree with your boss. You might not be the favorite. You don't want to be the favorite. You're there to do your best for your organization, team, that you are part of. And I know for a fact, we were just saying the first time I had to captain Sri Lanka, I'll fearlessly say this, Arjuna walked up to me and said, Maha, I'm not going on the trip. I don't want you to go. And then I said, is it your own decision or are we taking a collective decision? Then he said, no, I'm telling you not to go. I said, sorry, I can't agree if it's a personal decision, but whether it's right or wrong, I said, I will agree if we take a collective decision, because you need to stand by what we decide as a group, and I would have done that. But by saying that, I have a lot of respect purely because we wouldn't have won a World Cup if we didn't have a leader like Arjuna. He fought for his players. He gave mainly the Aussies a bit of a taste of their own medicine, and he encouraged us to stand up to those fights. So you need to have a strong leader, a strong character. And now he'll always talk about 5-6 senior players who was with him to support him as well. But just because you don't agree with certain things, you can voice your point of view. But as a leader, it's up to the leader to take that decision. So these two will stand out. Imran mainly because the extent that he has gone even after cricket is amazing.
Off the field, outside, non-cricketers, any, because you have had a different life in terms of as after retiring from ICC as well.
I was using some quotes of President Mandela purely because I still remember going to South Africa. I can't remember whether it was early 90s or late 80s, where they had just come out of that difficult period. But still I know as a country, they were facing a lot of challenges. People were not let out to mix with different groups of people. I need to be careful in the choice of words that I'm going to use. But when they came out of that shell, it was very difficult for those people. And he was a strong leader because when he came out, he didn't come with the intention of taking revenge. He wanted to do something for the people and the country. And I think these are leaders that our leaders also should follow, because it was all about the people and the country. So that's why I used a lot of what President Mandela said. And I can sit in front of you all and say anything that I want. I don't know whether you believe it or not, but this is where it matters. Be honest with yourself. I think that's a very strong statement.
Good. You spoke a lot about principles. You just highlighted some incident with Arjuna. You also quit on principles when you were playing, and you also quit the coaching also on principles. I mean, what were these friction? What was the issues?
Coaching was, like I said, I was the highest paid Sri Lankan in the board. Maybe I think it was 2002 or 3, and I was on a 3-year contract. I finished in 6 months. I just thought they hired the wrong person if they are getting people like us to do all their dirty work. There's no point. They should have faith in us. They generally invite us to do or to play a role is because of because of our experience, and they should allow us to do what we are hired to do. But if we do fail, they can kick us out, we have no problem, but they should not interfere in the role, and I feel that's exactly what is happening, and the state that we have, where cricket is at the moment, it's a, from my point of view, I hardly watch cricket. Is my life, but for me, when I watch cricket, it hurts. So with what is happening now, it clearly reflects. So I think it's important that you stand up for what is right. Stand up for your principles and what you feel is right. If I was looking at money, then I wouldn't have taken that decision. That's why I said even before, if you put money first, then you are going to compromise on some other values. So money will follow, but you should focus on your principles and what needs to be done. Even with the ICC, what happened was they made certain changes because it was only Sri Lanka who had two on the panel. Ranjan is highly respected today. He's there, and having two Sri Lankans, I feel, was challenging in terms of logistics for them. And they made certain changes which I could not agree. I went and they got me down to Dubai for a day. I had an open discussion. I told them what I felt, and through the discussion, my manager did not agree, and I said I can't agree with him. I said let's walk off, agree to disagree, because you should be strong enough to do that, and I still could have stayed on with the ICC. One of the things he did was he helped me like this, and he said, why are you bothered? He said, you're in the top 4 best referees in the world. You're getting paid more than a top CEO of your country. I said, hang on, I didn't select this job for money. I said, I want you to recognize my work. If you're not going to recognize my work, what is the point in me sacrificing my time or quality time with the family? Like I told you, my last 2 years I was out of home for 207, 208 days. So if people get us to focus on the monetary benefits, then we are focusing on the wrong thing. We have to focus on the job at hand. And I said, no, I said, unless you recognize my job, I said, whatever you're paying me is not worth, because he's not paying me that kind of money because he likes me. He pays everyone else also that kind of money. So money does not come into the equation. And 6 months before my contract expired, because we had an honest discussion, I had to point out certain things with the organization and about some of my colleagues also, and I was feeling very uncomfortable, because when I was working for the ICC or even Sri Lanka for that matter, I was very loyal. And I think if you're working for an organization, you have to be loyal. You have to be thankful for the opportunity that is given to you. If you're not happy, it's up to you to leave. But I see quite a lot of people stay in the job and criticize, which I feel is not the right thing to do. That's how I think.
Did anyone approach you to manage Sri Lanka cricket? Did they approach you? Did you reject it? Or they haven't approached you at all, knowing who you are?
Nisa, when we were in the ICC, we were told that there's nothing off the record, so anything on record. I was approached for anything and everything, I must tell you, by a few ministers, few of my colleagues, hierarchy in the board. But like I told you, I will not compromise on my honesty, integrity values, and I can't do something that is against my conscience towards the game that has given me more or less everything in life. I stand on my feet because of this game, and yes, if I do something, I will do it with good intention. Might work, might not work. That's not the thing. But with a clear conscience, I just can't get involved with the present setup. That's how I see it. I'm not going to blame anyone. There's this thinking where people like you all are staying out, but why don't you come in and do something? And my number of people have scolded me. Some time back I was going in a three-wheeler, someone stopped and said, "Ogula මොනවද කම්පියක් ඉන්නවනේ කියලා." මම කිව්වා මොනවද මේ කියන්නේ? ඇයි අර මැච් බලනවා බලන්නේ නැද්ද කියලා. People scold us, but I think it's gone beyond control unless the president of this country or someone who has authority takes a decision. In my opinion, we can't put it right, and people should not forget cricket has a special place. I'm not saying because I'm former cricketer, because it brings in foreign exchange to the country as well. It generates a lot of money. So I think we need to look at the game closely. That's the only sport that we compete at the highest level.
Yes.
It takes the country's image to the rest of the world, and people actually should focus on the game of cricket closely. Sadly, it hasn't happened up to the extent that they should be focusing, again from my point of view.
Okay. I know you have stayed with cricket with your all your, but given your passion, given your strict discipline values, didn't you think about launching an academy? You were talking how you're still grateful to your first coach. Why couldn't you start something and mentor more youngsters with the academy?
It was quite hard for me because I did my coaching courses, got through. I'm a Aussie level 2 qualified coach. There's only one more level, but I did not continue and moved away from coaching. That's exactly what I wanted to do at the time. Then I moved away from coaching. I got an opportunity in life when one door closes and another one opens, and sometimes you don't plan, but it happens that way. And that's exactly what happened. And for me, that's the best thing that happened working for the ICC. So when I moved away from that, I selected to go on a different path. Even to date, I referee. I do some freelance refereeing. I'm going to Pakistan to officiate in the Pakistan Super League. I can proudly say that we were instrumental in putting the cricketing disciplines in place, even for IPL, PSL, and sadly we can't contribute towards Sri Lanka cricket. They had one such tournament which did not take off, and it's remembered for the wrong reason.
Yes. Thank you. I'm going to open up to you. I have a lot of questions, but I think, it's like a 5-day test, You guys don't watch 5-day tests, so let's make it T20 or T10. Who likes to ask a question from Upali? Seriously?
Roshan, how has the entry of technology, things like drone photography and the
Stump fisher.
third umpire and instant reruns, how have they impacted the game, and how have they disrupted the spontaneity and the joy of it?
I won't say it has disrupted because the game has got commercialized. I think the governing body and the TV companies also have decided to give the best to the viewers. Yes, they generate a lot of money through sponsorships, and it's their responsibility to give in a return. And I know the fear that we had when DRS, third umpire referrals were introduced, to see how the umpires would handle, because we did not want the human involvement with the game taken away. And I just read recently with the IPL as well, now they are going to introduce another umpire to call the no ball. So that is, I think, has come up with the game being so commercialized. If you talk about IPL, the IPL TV rights is about $1.2 billion. So the ICC TV rights is different. So I think from their point of view, players get paid big money, and then people want the officials to make the right decisions, and the game should not be remembered for one of those lapses. And there can be challenges, drones, spider cameras, and when the spider cam was introduced, there was no regulation in place. Now there is a regulation. If the ball hits, what needs to be done, and umpires needs to follow. So with all these, I think as individuals we need to be open. We are in a ever-changing world. We should be open for that. I don't know whether you're going to ask a question, but I'll tell you which something really helped me personally. Early days into the job, previously, all our reporting was done manually. We had to stop in Dubai to collect our report forms, and go for a series. In 2005 or 2006, I was on my way to Zimbabwe for a series. So as usual, I stopped in Dubai to collect the report forms, and they said we have decided that we are not going to do manual reporting, everything will be done electronically. I hit the ceiling, forget about the laptop, I had not seen a computer. Then I did not show them that I did not know to handle a computer. So I asked them, I hope you have loaded everything, got somebody to show me what it was, but still I was actually shaking, shivering. Took the laptop, had my meetings, went away, got hold of a friend of mine, and I said, you need to help me. I said, I'm going to a place where it's going to be very challenging, that's Zimbabwe. That's why I don't want leaders of our country to take our country to a similar place where they have, one rule has taken that country. And it was a very important series, Zimbabwe, England, where England was trying to pull out, not to do for political reasons, but they decided. And here I am with the challenge. I need to handle the series as well as I need to do all my reporting electronically. So what I did was I still have this piece of paper, how to open a laptop, how to save a Word document, how to go on to Excel. You can, at the end of the session, you can see it's in shambles. I'll give it to you to read. That's there. This friend of mine helped me, and these were the days where you pull the cable, you use the telephone cable to send emails. And Zimbabwe, out of all the places, suddenly you send, it stops. It doesn't go. Either the size is too big. I was wondering, I was not thinking about money. I used to call people and I got the job done. It's how you get the job done. Then I thought I cannot survive with the ICC, and this was early days for me. I think 2 years into the job, 2 to 3 years. First 2 years I was on a part-time contract, and after that they gave me a full-time contract. So when I got back, now I was racking my brain. Now what can I do? I can't go for classes. Not like you all have been academics throughout, whereas suddenly I go in and sit in a class. They must be wondering, is he okay? So that was also a problem running through my mind, and came up with a solution. I sent my wife for classes. This is just the fact. And whatever she learned on the day, I learned. And today I'll handle a iPad, the computer, and a phone and all that. And that's how I managed to survive in the ICC. I wouldn't have survived. So uncle, it's all about making an effort and moving on with these changes. If you say you can't do it, sorry, you're going to be the loser. That's why I say never give up. And we do have a hidden talent where you need to enhance it and work towards developing whatever those hidden talents are.
Any more from interventions from, yes, thank you, Chris.
Yeah. If you touched on match fixing, question is, during your time as a cricketer, was match fixing an issue, and for the Sri Lankan team, I mean, and it's still something of an issue?
I was told what goes on tour stays on tour. Match fixing was a problem. I'm not talking about the Sri Lanka team, because without any concrete evidence it's very difficult to pinpoint or talk about incidents and people. But I know globally there's a distinct difference between match fixing and spot fixing, where people would not know. Match fixing, you fix an entire match, where currently spot fixing, which is fixing an incident. You might get, you might agree not to get 20 runs, or you will get out before that. And that's where we are, and cricket is one of those sports which can be vulnerable for spot fixing, because you name it, people can bet on who's going to bat first, or who's going to win the toss, who's going to bowl the first over, how many no balls, how many wides, and it just goes on. The list is endless. But if you go back to our era, if you think of the guys who were punished, I will not mention names, obviously there's a mic from a TV company, but there were two Australians who were fined for giving a weather report. They are not there to give weather reports, they should leave it up to the TV people. Then there was a Pakistan captain, there was an Indian captain and a few other players. There was a South African captain who confessed, who was so religious he could not, that's why I said, relates to what that great leader said, be honest with yourself. And I know there were some investigations here as well, but nothing was proven.
Are you sad that I know you said cricket has become very commercial, it's an entertainment now. Are you sad that the level which corruption is in the sports now?
Definitely, if a spectator spends money, you buy cable TV, you buy to watch people actually performing, showing their talent. And if people doubt the talent of an individual, credibility of an individual, it hurts. Now I go for all these private leagues. I was recently involved in a T10 tournament in Abu Dhabi. I've been involved in that tournament from day one, and they say it's their first tournament that there were so many instances where people were involved in fixing and so on, and some were found guilty, some were punished, and the whole point is you go there to entertain people. I feel we are also entertainers in that sense, and that's why I always feel that I need to spare a thought to the less fortunate ones and the needy, because it's all our spectators who are there with us throughout. But if they are not getting the best from those players, then it hurts. I think it goes back to being honest with yourself and putting values ahead of monetary benefits.
Yeah. I think you remember this incident where we thought we threw a match against India, the finals, you remember? We thought that India was putting pressure on us to give up because we were really cruising well. And you like to comment on that? You remember the...
I know the game that you're talking about. It's very difficult to comment without knowing, but why people have that doubt is because people have left room for people to have some doubt. It has been going on for too long. It is a problem. Generally, all of us, I'm talking about cricketers, come from humble background. I'm talking about Sri Lankans and most of the players from the subcontinent also. But they should be taught not to put money ahead, and it's very difficult to say, and I doubt it getting into a World Cup finals whether people will go to that extent. But by saying that, people have left room for them to doubt some of the decisions that they make.
True. Thank you. We have a few ladies, and he did address you guys. Can you not interested? Well, you are still listening. Can I move on to something that is onto your family? I know you are very happy with 3 daughters, but you know people always like to see so and so son playing the same game. We have seen that generation. I mean, are you regretting?
No regrets, because I was outnumbered, outvoted at home. So I was the love of everyone. So having 4 girls around, now we've got a granddaughter as well. It's always see for her as well. So no regrets.
No junior Mahanamas playing.
I've got a grandson, but I don't know what plans he's got, so it all depends what talent he's got, and I know we have spotted something. I don't know whether he wants to continue with that. He's got this interest for music, so that's something that we have seen, and it's very important, and like I told you, I will encourage them to find their talent and go towards what they want to achieve. But for me, as a cricketer, early days they thought my style of cricket was suited for test match cricket, as I was known to be a test match player. But in my personal life, I've been a one-day player because I'm still on my first innings, where my friends have gone into the second innings, third innings and fourth innings also. So I've played a one-day game in that sense. When we got married young, I still remember the selectors. The selectors said that was going to be the end of my career, because the general impression at the time was you get married young, your cricket's gone or your marriage is gone. I had both, so I was lucky. Where we've been married for more than 30 years. We are blessed with 3 daughters. I'm so grateful to my wife. She sacrificed her career for the sake of the family. So in the family, out of the 4 girls, she's the only one who's not educated in that sense. Obviously, she's done the basic education. But because I was playing at the time, we decided that one of us had to be with the children, because I was out of the country most of the time, and that's a sacrifice that she made, which has really paid off for us. The other non-academic is me, but I live my dream, so I'm quite happy about it. Like I told you, Nissa, there was a time where my mother was a teacher. With the greatest difficulty, I got through O-levels, because we had to get through O-levels to stay in school to continue playing until you leave school. Otherwise, you can't play for your under 19 years, so you need to get through. So I got through the exam not because I want to get through O-levels, but to play the next 2 years of cricket. And then my mother encouraged me to do the A-levels, where in the art stream I was studying, I was working hard, and I got a cricketing scholarship in July that year. So I went up to my father and actually my parents, and I said, I've got this offer to go to Lords, and as a budding cricketer, no better thing than that. What should I do? My mother was very upset. My father was open. He said, son, you have to take that decision. Once you make that decision, don't look back, because that's going to be your career, that's going to be your future. And at the time, I never thought about anything else, because we played in an era where there was no money, but it's just the passion and the dream that I had that took the better of me. And when I look back now, it's a gamble that has paid off. I know for some of us it hasn't, but certainly for me it has paid off. And with the ICC also, it was something similar. But with my 3 daughters, I mentioned that I will mention 1 or 2 things about them, especially my eldest daughter, who hates studies. With the greatest difficulty, she got through her O-levels. We thought that she might not get through the O-levels, then she got through the A-levels. But when she got close to O-levels, she said she needs help. That was tuition, which we were quite happy to assist her in what she was looking at the time. Then I had told my 3 daughters that they have to be qualified in something. I said, if they don't want to...
You were being like your mother.
Not because of anything, because I went a step further. If they allow me to finish this, sir, I said, don't look at your mother and think that life is going to be that easy. If your marriage doesn't last, you should be able to stand on your own feet. And I said, if you don't want to study, that's your choice, but do a course. Can be hairdressing, can be cookery, anything that you like, but you have to know something where you can fall back to. So my eldest daughter decided to do Sima Manuvari. That's what she did. Not our influence, but that's something that she decided to do. So with the greatest difficulty, she got through up to top Sima. Every now and again she comes and tells me, Tata, my lecturers tell me to do 2 subjects together, 3 subjects, and whatever. I said, you do what you're comfortable with doing. I said, it is your decision. And when she wanted to get married, my advice to her was to finish off what she had started. So obviously she got pregnant and she felt toxima for the first time. And I can see at home there were discussions going on, and I'm not one of those nagging fathers who will be behind them and telling them what they should be doing, and I can hear her also saying, I don't know why I have to study, I'm not going to continue doing anything, I'm not going to work and so on. But I thought that's their problem. After she's married, it's their decision. Then I think she was feeling bad. She thought, let me do it once more. And she got the help of the mother and the younger sister. She had the baby and she really worked hard. I think that's the only time I've seen her working hard towards doing something. That she was taking Red Bull and all that, because having a child, it was not easy, right? Just to get that energy, and she was going on. So after the toxima, I'm sure she would have been relieved, she would have done that. And we were also hoping for the best. She became Sri Lanka's #1, world #5. So the story there is, every time she says Nangis are brainier than her. But I feel she is the brainiest or smartest, but she hates to work hard. So unless you work hard, you will not achieve what you want to achieve in life. And my second daughter is a doctor. She has qualified as a doctor. She chose a path where she wanted to come back to Sri Lanka. She's having a bit of a challenge thanks to the GMOA and the leaders of our country to do the exam here, because they encourage foreign graduates to move away rather than coming back. I think I am more patriotic than most of these politicians. I can proudly say I declined a Aussie PR a good 10 years ago, when a friend of mine said, here it is, you have it, and I said, no, this is my country, I'm going to stay here and live here. And my daughters have the same feeling towards the country, but I think now they're encouraging these girls to go on. So she's at crossroads, she's in the process of doing her ERPM here, and it all depends, because the exam was in November, but it has got postponed because there's some court case, so we don't know when she can do the ERPM. And my youngest daughter, she got a first class honors in mathematics, economics. I tell them that it's not my grades because I'm still using it. So, she's also doing CIMA. She is working for John Keels in the analytics division. So that's the family. We are blessed with 2 grandkids, and my son-in-law is also he's an academic. He is CIMA qualified and he's done a master's in business psychology. So that's all their decisions, what they want to do in life. And now I have set up a small business with my son-in-law, and then he's looking after that. So I have no regrets not having a son. It's all about having a loving family. I was watching Kobe Bryant's that short video clip, and he was saying any opportunity he'll go back home, and I must use this to tell the audience. I can see some of the young faces. It's all about having a work-life balance. For me, when I was working for the ICC, even when I was playing, I made sure whenever I got time, I spent time with the family. Very rarely I decided to go for event functions after 6:37 at night, because I know if I go for event and come back, we'll have unwanted problems at home. So unless I had to go for an event where my presence is needed, I avoided, not because of anything else, because spending time with the family is very, very important. I know some of my friends, sometimes I find it difficult to manage with one phone, but they have two phones and doing business. I just thought, I have my two in-laws on either side, I will not make a good businessman. I'm doing one with my brother-in-law and the other is with my son-in-law. I want to keep the in-laws also separate because when I'm dead and gone, there is a big twisting in my grave if they start fighting. So, it's just that I'm getting them to do so that they need to do something. But for me, it was all about spending quality time and even working for ICC. I was off for 207, 208 days, but whenever possible, I took the family. I was not only thinking of saving, but it was all about spending quality time with the family, which has really helped me, and I'm telling you this through sheer experience.
You spoke about mentoring your own kids. Has any national players come to you? Do they come to you for mentoring? And what has been your feedback or experience?
Not really. I was asked to speak to the under 19 boys about 3 years ago. I was approached by a dear friend of mine, my former teammate Chaminda Was, and I was quite happy that I was given that opportunity. I went and spoke to the boys. But sadly, after the event, people at the board had asked them why they had invited me to come and talk to the boys. So that's the impression that they have, and if they don't need, we can't go there as well. And when Haturu Singh and Guru Singh was there, I went and spoke to the national team, but I told them that I was not going to talk to the boys about cricket because they had enough coaches and all of them were ex-cricketers with a good knowledge of the game, but I just spoke to them on honesty, integrity, values, and also not to put money in front, because I told them don't go after money, it will come, because cricket is something that people can generate money, but players should not go after money, it will come towards them.
Thank you. You have more inputs? Yeah.
In Roshan's early days, I think you had a challenge which you have not mentioned, your fitness level. I mean, after scoring 80, you will not very difficult. But later on, you went and stayed 3 continuous days in the crease to score with Sana. So how did you come across the fitness level in order to manage the game?
Have you seen some of my colleagues recently? Looking at the fitness levels, I have maintained the same weight for 20 years, whereas my colleagues have, some of them might not be able to sit on the job. No, it was not my fitness. I was one of the fittest. I paid a lot of attention on fitness, but sadly we played in an era where we didn't have support. And all what we knew was to just run. And I was living in Devula at the time. I grew up in Devula. I used to go to the beach and just run. And I see some of my colleagues as well who would come, like Rohit for a run to the beach. But that's all what we knew, and we didn't have people to support. The change took place in 1995. That's why I will give a lot of credit to them for it was not about players not being fit. There may be a few who would not have been. For me personally, I was very keen. Even now, I do 6 to 7 kilometers. Last year I had walked for, I done about 1,300 kilometers, and I do that and I have a target. My target is, I think all of you should find time for yourself. If you can't find time, that's a problem, because that's a stress reliever for sure. My aim, have a target for that as well. My aim was 283 sessions for last year, and I did 192 sessions. And I made it a point, sometimes I wear a cap and walk on the road. So it's all about finding time yourself. But coming back to this, the difference, how I was able to back up 3 days is the best thing that happened to us was bringing in Alex Contour in 1995, I give a lot of credit to Dab. Dab did not tell us how to play the game, but he worked on areas where we needed support. Sri Lanka was the only team that did not have a physio in the 1992 World Cup. When we went and told the authority at the time, they said, don't worry about having physios and support stuff. You start winning. For them it was all about winning, but they never realized for us to do well, we needed support. And I know both put together, I'm talking about Alex and Dab, they really work on areas where we were not getting support. And I still remember even our diet. I'm so thankful to both of them. That's why I've been able to maintain that. I have taken the advice that they gave, but early days, I used to sneak because they changed our pattern. Early days, when they took over for breakfast, we had string hoppers, pit two, and you name it, it was a party. Then he changed it to cereal, to yogurts, and whatever. So they gradually educated us on the importance of taking a proper meal. But for me, I had a deficiency, and we found a tablet which is normally given for malaria. But the way we were taking it was not the way I should have taken it, because if it's a day-night match, you have to take it on the day of the match. If it's a day game, you have to take it the night before. It's called quinine. That's the thing that helped me, because for some reason I was losing electrolytes and whatever. So I was one of them who was prone to cramps, and I really struggled. World Cup semi-finals was one I was carried off the field. I was struggling. It was very hot that day. And Alex, I remember telling me, you're crazy, because I could have died. I had cramps from head to toe. If you look at that clip on YouTube, you'll see there are 4 guys who have come to the center to help carry me, because I was dead weight.
Thank you.
Roshan,
Oh, okay.
so for so many years, you are still talked about in the industry, in the business world, and how do you manage your brand, Roshan Mahanama? How do you keep your self-image?
That's a good question. I think a lot of credit should go to, I might have a series of messages. I just want to show, that's my hero, that's my father. Coming from that corporate background, he was very big on image building. And I still remember, as a kid, when you start to do well, you like to show the others that you're something special, you're doing this, you'll have the collars up. He'll make sure that he'll advise me not to put the collars up. And if I go to a particular place, depending on where I go, how I should dress, that's one of the questions that I asked you as well, if you remember, Dulanji. So from early days, he was able to get that message across to me, the importance of image building. Yeah, I have worked very hard. Looking at the theme, one part, it says class. People define class, or they have a connection to class with money. I don't agree. It is not the case. It is the disciplines, the values, how you handle yourself, how you respect females. If you see a female, you need, and these were taught to us in school, not only by teachers, by our coaches as well. My first coach is very, very particular. To give you an example, I'm not going to mention names, even for you all as well. If you are representing a company, you have to remember you are an ambassador of that organization. When we represent our country, and when we leave the country, we are ambassadors of our country. If any of you leave Sri Lanka, they will not remember you by your name. You are a Sri Lankan. That's a common identity we have. But we have to behave in a manner where we will not harm the image of our country. I'll give you an example. I was going to I was going to India with my wife and my daughter was studying there. And we went to the lounge. And I saw some of the Sri Lankan cricketers. That's why, Nissa, I feel bad because when I was coaching the Sri Lanka A team, I was not trying to teach them how to play the game, but I was going to work on areas, get people who are competent to come and help them, even to handle electronic media, print media, to show them some life skills. So at the ladies, excuse me, but I need to show this. I see some of the cricketers in the lounge, legs up like this. Where that is not what is expected of somebody who is representing your country. You should know, and these were taught by our teachers, our masters, but it is about instilling these values. I think we need to remind. So I think I have been able to do that over the years consistently for me to maintain, and I'm very grounded. I have very light shoulders. My father, I still remember, and especially my parents have told me, what you achieve on a playing field, you need to leave and come. That is for you to get satisfaction, not to show others. Whatever you all have chosen is for you all to get satisfaction. You don't have to go and show around, you are this, you are that, you have achieved this. No, but if they find out, it's for others to figure out. But at the end of the day, I think you need to be a good human being. Now they are talking about, if people follow cricket, they are talking about having managers. For me, I had a manager from day one, it was my father, but he was a marketer. Yes, my mother was there in terms of discipline and all that because she was a teacher, but when he comes to the sport and guiding me, he was there because of his corporate culture. So branding, there were commercials that came our way, not to the extent that the current cricketers get. I know I went and did one commercial, but later on, I think some people had spoken to my father and we pulled out. So we have taken decisions like that as well. So I think that's something that has helped me to maintain the image. And maybe if you say that there is brand value, yes.
Thank you. We are coming close to wrap up. I have a few closing questions. Anyone? I'd like to give that opportunity to anybody. I have a few questions, sir. What wakes you up in the morning?
In the old days, of course, obviously we had to get up early to get our fitness part out of the way. Again, there's something that comes to my mind where I'm fairly religious. I worship in the morning. From the day I can remember, I've been doing that. I go on a tour, I have pictures of my family, my parents, and my shrine room. That's what I've been doing. And respect. We played in an era where we were sharing the room, but you have to respect your colleague in the room. But there's a place and so on. But my father tells me he's well read. I think there's one gentleman who knows my father quite well. He's well read. He says he wakes up every morning to see how he can help someone. And I told Tata, how can you do that? It's very difficult. Every day you can't do that. He said, "Putra, think for yourself. How many people would have asked you for help? They would want you to help to get their child into a school, get somebody a job, get a doctor's appointment, somebody is suffering." And that always rings in my mind. And if somebody has asked me for a favor, I try to help them as much as I can. And I'm slightly deviating. This is the appropriate forum. I just must relate this story. This is about leadership and how important it is to get the best out of your colleagues. If you're in an environment, if they're from different, if they follow different religions, they have different beliefs. I was in South Africa, England, South Africa series. we had an umpire from Pakistan, an umpire from Australia, an umpire from India, and the other one was from South Africa, and myself. A match referee is the leader of the team. We say there are 3 teams involved, the 2 playing teams and the playing control team. And you have people who have different beliefs, and it's important that you get all individuals to respect those beliefs. I've not seen anyone who's so religious like Alinda. He prays 5 times a day. He runs off when the game is finished to pray, looking at the direction. But we have a problem. We have Australian who comes back and the first thing he wants is to have a beer. So you are going to have somebody praying there and the other one having a beer. So if you don't get them to have that understanding, the team collapses. So it's up to the leader to ensure that sometimes you might not agree. That is, you have to leave it up to them to thrash it out and do it later on. But as a leader, you have to ensure that you get your team members to respect different cultures, respect different beliefs, and to get the best out of the guys. So I had to get the Australian to wait until Alim finished. But Alim is also one of them who wants to go no sooner he finishes right. So then I had to encourage him to wait until the Aussie finishes his beer. So that's the role of the leader. So it's very important. Otherwise, and it was a very tough series. And for me, that I think when I look back was the toughest series, if I'm not mistaken, because we had some issues as well. So this was only at the start. So if we didn't have your team working together, it would have been tough. So sorry I had to deviate, but in the morning I just get up to see if I can help somebody, and also I try to do what I have to do for myself as well. Now today was a day off. Tomorrow there's somebody who's coming to speak to me in the evening, so I'll have to get up early and get my 6Ks off of the way. So I'm not a morning person, like I said, because during our playing days we all had our fitness activity in the morning. But now I've decided that I'll keep it for the evening. But on days that I have events or activities, I decide to come back all in the morning.
And what sort of keeps you up in night?
I fall asleep without a problem, because I'll tell you, it might be a lot of these guys. I said, again reminds me of President Mandela. If you're not honest to yourself, you'll have sleepless nights. I have an afternoon nap as well. Even today I had 1.5 hours. I find time, so I must tell you that. If I get a break, I have a snooze in the afternoon as well. So I have no problem in sleeping. By saying that if I have to stay awake, I will. But I'm one of them. That's why, believe me, everyone has problems. You'll have stress levels where you cannot handle at times, but doing a bit of a workout, managing it, and if you're honest and you have a clear conscience, you can fall asleep.
Thank you. My last question is, if you didn't take up cricket, who and what would you have been?
Very difficult question. I must thank my parents for allowing me to live my dream. Like I said, if they pushed me at the time to do my A-levels without going to England on that scholarship, I wouldn't know, because for me, ever since I was 9 plus, what I wanted to do was to play the game. And I still remember I was the youngest, playing in a finals, under 12 at the time. We did well, we became champions, and that was also motivation. So I think cricket's been too good to me, and I will not do anything willingly to harm the game.
Okay, no, I mean, in what other things are you good? Or, I mean, what do you like? It can't be cricket morning, day and night.
Not really, like I said, it gives me a lot of satisfaction if I can go and help people. Like I said, I'm involved in 4-5 charities. Today I got a call asking me whether I could be the brand ambassador for the Stroke Association. And I gladly agreed because in whatever we can, we need to come forward to show our support. Then somebody contacted me 2 weeks back for a road safety thing. That keeps me going, that gives me a lot of interest, really looking, caring. I don't know, that maybe the way that we've been brought up as well. I went to Veheratanna, a remote village. We built 2 schools there. On our way back, we stopped in Madhavachya, and some of these schools, what they want is something very little. I went to a school in Buttala. They said, can you help us with some sporting equipment? And what they wanted was a volleyball. Volleyball is our national sport, and some of these schools in the rural villages does not have even a volleyball. Cricket, they wanted some softballs and softball bats. So I take time in trying to find, like I said, it's not me who's going to spend to get them. I know it's a small amount, but I encourage people also to get involved. Now, for the school in Madhavachya, I met somebody at an event, and then he agreed to give 2 computers, so we need to organize and send it across. Buttala, there's one of the guys who's got a sports goods shop. He said we'll give equipment, so things like that. But I think cricket has got the better of me, where I have no regrets, because I started early. I started very early, and I had a brother who was equally good. But sometimes I know you will ask me as well, what has helped me to reach where I wanted to go was, I think I made certain sacrifices, commitment, dedication, and I had that never give up attitude.
No, just 2 questions is what, if you ask what was your biggest regret in life and the most happiest, just 2 quick ones.
I think leaving the game for any sportsman is always to be involved as a player. I was not ready for retirement. I trained with the boys the day before, and I decided to quit the following day. I thought to myself, all good things have to come to an end, and I thought that was it. I was not going to have any involvement with the game, but then it opened doors. I'm still involved. I see the best players in action, and like I told you, the best years for me was being involved with the ICC during that period. So I think that was for me quite crucial. And I think the most memorable day was winning the World Cup. I must tell everyone as well, we were the underdogs throughout. The day of the game, we were relaxed. I don't know, that must be our normal style, whereas the Aussies were having team meetings and so on, but our boys were buying carpets and wanting stuff, where the Aussies were having their meetings. But we were relaxed, and for me personally, I'm really happy that we had the finals on that day. Why I say that is, it was drizzling when we got to the ground, and if the game was pushed back for the next day, there was a reserve day, then we wouldn't have played the way we did, because we had really psyched up. It's all about, I tell my daughters as well, going for exam, doing anything. I have a daughter who studies. I don't talk about education. It's all about peaking for an event, how you keep your mind relaxed. Now they're all stressed, going in a car, sometimes they're thinking, reading the book. I said, don't read, but I'm going to learn by reading for 10 minutes. I said, no, listen to some music, unwind and so on. So sorry I deviated, but winning the World Cup and leaving the game.
Thank you, Roshan. I think excellent, very frank comments. More than that, I think your time and the passion in which you shared, honesty in which you spoke. I'm sure you have transformed everyone here. I'm sure he inspired so much. So thank you very much. Please give him a applause for